Hey the berries, welcome to another support tier list. This one's a day later than usual because the patch is on Thursday, the 23rd of June. There's a lot of changes going on. Tier list has been changed a fair amount, so if you're used to the previous tier list, you will definitely want to have a little glance at least at the changes because there's a lot of things that have been swapped around and things like that. If you're new here, then what we do is we look at the patch notes that usually get posted on Twitter a couple of days earlier. They're usually 99% accurate. If there's any changes, I will put them in the comment section down below and it will be pinned, so you'll be up to date fully on all the changes. But we look at the patch notes, we go through the stuff, obviously go through the support changes and any item changes that may be relevant. Sometimes we talk about AD carries a little bit, because there's sometimes some relevant stuff that you need to know about. Particularly, you know, with a new champion that's going to be coming out soon that will be played in the bot lane, and we'll be talking about that champion a lot too. But for now, let's just dive straight into the patch notes. Do bear in mind though that this tier list is, when we get to it, is focused to unranked to plat, as most of the people that watch my content are looking for support educational content. So usually that means that they're new to League or they're climbing up, but unranked to plat still hits around about 85% of the player base, at least anyway, so this should be relevant information to you. If you are Diamond Plus, then you should know better and you shouldn't be here. So straight off the gate, if you look at the very top of champion buffs, Amumu, I've actually put Amumu now as support on the tier list. Why? Because if you look at that Q mana change, 70 base, which is insanely high, as Amumu doesn't actually have quite a large mana pool, they're reducing the mana cost of his Q by half, essentially, from 30 to 50. It's a huge change. They are also increasing the damage of his ultimate, so his engages are going to be a lot stronger. If you land one bandage toss and it slightly misses or connects to an enemy minion, you still have another Q to land onto. Don't forget, like, Amumu's got slightly changed, so he does have 2 charges on his Q now, so it does make him a pretty deadly engage, particularly at level 6. Because of his passive, works really well if you have magic damage on your team, like a decent amount of it. That will enable your team to do even more damage. So Amumu, very good tank if you need magic damage. Want to boost your team's magic damage on your team. So actually, potential pick. I'll be trying that on an off meta episode soon, so keep an eye out for that one. Another hard engage support buff here, Blitzcrank. Getting a buff, I'm not really sure why. He actually had a pretty stable win rate at the moment. I don't really know why they would want to buff Blitzcrank. I think the other tanks kind of need a little bit more loving to be more relevant. But Blitzcrank is getting a buff. I think he was the strongest support engage that you had as an option anyway. So him getting buffed is, I don't know, it's weird, but it's quite a significant buff. It's 105 damage on his Q now, so it's plus 15 damage, and his ultimate is also getting increased by 25, so his win rate's going to go up. That's, I don't know, whatever. The big one of the entire patch though is, it's the smallest of all the notes, but it's actually probably one of the biggest. It's the Seraphine. So her E is getting changed. The cooldown is going from 11 seconds to 10 seconds basically base. That's not the important thing. The important thing is the ECC duration going up from 1 to 1.5. You're like, Bizzleberry, wow, 0.5 seconds more root/stun duration on Seraphine E, who cares? It's actually insane. Like, that CC duration is incredibly high. Just to put that into some kind of thing that you might better understand, Taric was around about a 47% win rate in 12.11. One of the things that they gave him was plus 0.25 stun on his E. They also increased his heal up a little bit, like just a tiny bit basically. His win rate went up like 5 to 6%. Okay, so Seraphine is going to be in the same boat. I think she's is the one to look out for, honestly. Keep your eye on this champion and her win rates as we go on. Her pick rate is going to go up. The CC duration is insane. I'm surprised it's gone up from 1 to 1.5. I don't know why it's not like 1.25 at least to start off with. I mean, it's probably to do with the pool skins. Let's be real here. There's no other reason or justification for it. I think, yeah. Seraphine, keep your eye on that one. Enjoy her or don't enjoy her in your games coming up. She will be played a lot more often. Now, we're going to go into champion nerfs. There are a couple of things in the champion adjustments that I want to talk about, which are both nerfs / buffs, but we'll go through the actual nerfs first. So Janet is getting nerfed this patch. She actually has the highest win rate in every single ELO as support this, well, in patch 12.11. She is getting nerfed. Her win rate will go down. Her win rate will still be above 50% from this change. They're doing some minor changes across the board. Overall, I'm expecting her to still be pretty strong. Either a tier 1 pick still, or at least a worst case scenario mid tier 2 pick. So if you're still playing Janna, you will probably notice the nerf slightly, but she's still going to be pretty good. The main reason why you take her is for her disengage, and they're not nerfing that really. So her Q and her ulti remain unchanged, and that's usually where like her most power comes from in those team fights and preventing being ganked. As I mentioned at the start, we might talk about some AD carries. We've got a Lucian nerf, which could impact Nami Electrocute. So do bear that in mind when playing Nami Lucian, that you will be weaker. It will feel like you are weaker because the Lucian did get nerfed. Other than that, there isn't any dramatic changes to AD carries this patch, apart from that Lucian and the Zeri, Zeri as well. Zeri, I don't know. Zeri W, the AP scaling on that is getting nerfed this patch. So you might have been seeing like Zeri mid more as opposed to AD carry, but that like laser thing that she does is getting nerfed. So now the two kind of like Enchanter healing thingy nerfs / buffs, depending on how you look at it. The Yuumi one is just a straight nerf. So Yuumi healing, the passive shield. So if you don't know, on Yuumi, when you auto attack every 10 to 15 seconds as Yuumi, you get a shield and you also get mana. They're increasing the amount of that shield, but it's marginal. To counteract that, they are reducing the amount of Yuumi's heal on the later stages. It's a pretty dramatic nerf. It means that they're trying to make it so that you're more active in terms of, you know, doing your shields and things as opposed to healing. But if you actually look at the Yuumi healing and the shield values that you're losing, you're gaining max, you know, passive stack. It's 20 shield. You're gaining 20 shield, but you're losing 40 base heal on your E. And you're going to be healing way more in fights than doing your passive attack. Okay, so it is a nerf to Yuumi. They're trying to make her so that she's more active and taking more risks, but it is a considerable nerf to Yuumi. They're doing another healing change with Soraka. This one is interesting. It's hard to pin exactly if this is going to be an actual nerf, or if it is a nerf, it might be very minor. But Soraka's ult healing is being increased at all stages. So I think it's 25 extra per point, but it no longer removes grievous wounds. Now the reason why I don't know if exactly this is a nerf or not, because grievous wounds has been reduced, the effectiveness has been reduced twice in the last few patches. So the power value from Soraka ulti has been reduced slightly per patch anyway, because grievous wounds just naturally hasn't been picked up as much, and if they do take it, it hasn't had much of an effect anyway. So Soraka healing, ulti healing being buffed, you've got to also weigh in these other things as well, like taking % healing runes and items. Soraka's passive as well, once the target is below 40%, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure it's 40%, it might be 30% health, then she also does increase healing to the target. So you've got these multipliers that are happening just on that, you know, 25 to 75. So the healing is being increased up a little bit. Also, people are more reluctant to take Grievous Wounds now, just because the items just aren't as good as what they used to be. Just because of the raw percentage, Grievous Wounds value isn't as urgent. I will say though, like if the enemy team does see a Soraka, they're probably going to pick up the same amount of Grievous Wounds as potentially. Maybe not in the lower elos, maybe like in bronze and silver they might not. But people are generally taking Ignite less, at least anyway, especially in those solo lanes now, because getting those early kills are quite difficult with the tankiness patch that they introduced a couple of patches ago. So if you're ulting from bot lane to top lane, that your ult should actually do a little bit more than what it used to, because there shouldn't be any Grievous Wounds in the top lane, and maybe even in the mid lane in some of the jungle fights as well. So early game, I'd say Soraka healing generally got buffed if you're ulting for other lanes. I think if you're ulting for your own lane, your lane opponents probably will have Ignite for you. So then you could say this is a slight nerf. So this is why it's difficult to exactly pinpoint whether or not this is going to be a buff or nerf. There are actually like other things at play here. I think overall it might be like a minor nerf, an absolute minor nerf, but I don't think it's going to make a huge difference to Soraka's current state in the game, and she's generally been pretty good for a long time. Now the moment that you've been waiting for, we are now going to look at the tier list for this patch. Tier 4 and Tier 5. Now I usually don't spend a lot of time on Tier 4 and Tier 5. Particularly Tier 5. We're not even going to like look at that really. Tier 4 though, you might have noticed that there are a few champions there that are semi-common in solo queue that have been moved to Tier 4. So if you missed the announcement that I made at the very start of the video because you skipped all the way to this section, hi. This tier list is catered towards unranked to plat, okay? And all of these champions in Tier 4 and plat are, well, plat or lower are absolutely bad. Do not do, okay? Apart from potentially, the one thing I would say, apart from potentially the Amumu. Okay, Amumu originally wasn't even on this tier list if I recall. He might go up to Tier 3, but don't forget overall, hard engaged supports have been doing generally pretty garbage lately anyway. But the fact that Amumu's now on this tier list at least anyway, or at least is getting a mention, is pretty huge. He could potentially go up to Tier 3. Okay, I'm prepared to say that. I'm fairly confident about everything else. Yuumi taking a massive nerf, honestly. That's going to hit a lot of low elo players. People in unranked bronze, silver playing Yuumi a lot. Generally, they play Yuumi a lot more passive. So they're not going to be using the passive as much and relying on the heals more, and the heals got nerfed. So Yuumi will have a decent reduction in win rate over this patch for sure. Thresh getting moved down to Tier 4. People don't click lanterns, and hard engagers have just been having a tough time. Nothing really came of those Tahm Kench changes in terms of his buffs in the previous patch. There was some appearances of him being played in like an AP carry kind of role, or like an AD role in the bot lane, and having like a center support does work. But apart from those extreme kind of cases, Tahm Kench is still pretty bad. Moving up to Tier 3. We've done a lot of reshuffling, as you can probably see. There's things like Nico, Ashe, Maokai, Bard, that were all Tier 4 have been moved up to Tier 3. Brand has been moved down. Lulu's been moved down. Potentially, I think Leona got moved down as well. So you can see there's been a lot of reshuffling recently. Bard and Maokai in particular have had increases in win rate. Ashe and Nico also have started to come up a little bit. Brand did get hit by those targeted, the Andrews nerfs and things like that earlier on. So he did lose actually quite a decent chunk of win rate. He's now falling off relatively hard. In Iron and Bronze, he's still super good, but after Bronze now, he's now not doing that great. He used to do pretty well up until like late Gold. So that shows how much of a dramatic change Brand has been hit recently. Lulu's lost a lot of win rate recently too. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe like Hogmore did receive a stealth buff, sorry. but no one's really been playing Kog'Maw recently. Maybe if people notice and the Kog'Maw meta kind of pops up a little bit, Lulu will get some win rate increase. So that could happen in the next potentially couple of weeks. I don't think anyone's really realized that Kog'Maw got buffed recently, and I think once people actually pick up and realize that, more people will be playing Lulu. Moving up to tier 2, we've got the Seraphine, we've got Taric there. All were, not long ago, maybe even Taric was like tier 4. He's now into tier 2. I was considering putting him into tier 1, believe me or not. His win rate has actually skyrocketed so much that I'm kind of confused at why it's like this high at the moment. So I'm hesitant to put him in tier 1 just for now. I'm going to see how he does this patch. And then, but the two champions, if you should keep your eye on, is the Seraphine that we mentioned earlier and Taric. Both of those champions are climbing through the win rates pretty fast. Well, I'm predicting Seraphine will, and Taric has definitely shot up there. There's even a chance, right, with these Gen nerfs that Taric could actually have the highest win rate as support, which is blowing my mind a little bit, especially when I haven't really seen that many people play Taric, honestly. So I'm still kind of confused about that. Okay, so just throwing that out there. I'm not sure why this Taric has been so strong lately, but it has. Soraka's got moved down from tier 1 to tier 2, but I think she's still a very good pick in the tier 2. Vel'Koz got moved up from tier 3 to tier 2. He's been doing very well recently. He's been popping up a little bit more. Xerath has been pretty stable. Senna's been moved down from tier 1 to tier 2. She did receive some minor nerfs after the 12.11 tier list came out. A few days after that, she got nerfed, I believe. That's reflected in that. She's still okay. If you like playing Senna, she's still a decent pick. But she is starting to fall off a little bit, just so that you're aware. Tier 1, we have kind of the usual suspects still. There's still some familiar faces there. Blitzcrank's been moved back up to tier 1 after being moved out a couple of patches ago. So with those changes, I don't understand why he's got those buffs still, but he's now definitely the strongest tank engaged support in unranked to possibly even diamond, honestly. So Blitzcrank definitely one to look out for. Maybe put on your ban list again if you haven't already. Renata's been very, very solid recently. She's definitely been doing very well. She's been moved up from tier 2 to tier 1. Zyra is now the best mage AP carry that you can play. She's always been roughly around tier 1 or tier 2, but she is the best mage support now if you want to play a mage support. So yeah, look out for that. Janna is getting nerfed this patch, but I feel like she's still going to be at least low tier 1. Sona is still incredibly strong. Nothing really changed about her. Nami. So Nami is, I was considering putting her into tier 2. Do bear in mind that left to right has no correlation of how strong they are. I was considering putting Nami down to tier 2 because I feel like her win rate will go down because of the Lucian changes. So it will be indirectly, people will be picking Nami with Lucian in the mindset of like, Nami, Lucian's really, really strong. But I think the Lucian is actually going to pull down the Nami win rate because of that. And I think she's still going to be really good with the other AD carry picks that you would normally pick her with. So I'm predicting her win rate to go down slightly because of the Lucian changes, but overall she's actually a tier 1 champion. So I'm suspecting after people have got used to Lucian not being as strong, once we get into like 12.13, maybe 12.14, things should have calmed down, and I think her win rate will go back to what it kind of was. But it is a slight question mark overall. This is kind of like hypotheticals. It makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense to you what I'm saying. But I think it's going to be, her win rate will go down just because like Lucian players will be unaware of the nerfs. Hope the tier list helps you out. As always, I do these every 2 weeks, the day before a patch comes out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below, or give me a message on twitch.tv/Bizzleberry. where I'm pretty much live every single day. So if you've got a question about my tier list, feel free to pester me there. I hope you guys have been enjoying the Unranked Diamond series. We're still pursuing that and plowing on through the content on that. So yeah, I hope that's been good, a good watch, and we're still progressing. We haven't completed that challenge just yet. And I will be covering the new champion that is coming out. If you're watching this video as it comes out later on today, I'll be releasing another video today about the new champion. So if you're interested in finding what she's all about in the bot lane as a support, it's actually one of the, I can't really say, I'm not allowed to say anything until I release the video, but it is, as a support player, you will want to watch the video. Okay, yeah, I would say more so than any other AD carry release that's happened recently. That's all that's all I can say. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope to see you there for the new champion video, and yeah, bye. Bye.